pleased to have here the head coach of Notre Dame football, ranked second in the college football playoffs, getting set to take on Clemson in a couple of Saturdays for the ACC championship. Brian Kelly, fresh off of his third undefeated regular season as Notre Dame football coach. How are you, sir?
Good, Rich. How you doing?
Yes.
You don't have any of those masks in green, do you?
You know what? I can special order one if you wear it and you put it out there on the old social media. You know, there may be an I in Rich Eisen, but I'm willing to share, Coach.
I know you are.
Thank you. Hey, when we had you on in the summer, and you were saying basically, I don't even have protocols that I can tell my kids' parents about just yet, and we're trying to figure out whether we can play and how we can play, how we can get them here. I'm going to have all these kids under my my purview here, and when I say to parents, we've got to have X, Y, and Z done. I mean, and it was so unknown when we spoke over the summer. If I had told you then that we would be speaking second week of December, you were 10-0, fresh off of an undefeated season through your first full ACC campaign as you had to do to play, you'd have said what to me?
I'll take two of those.
I bet.
Yeah, certainly this has been a long road and one that certainly there was no blueprint for it. So, you know, my line has been, you know, we're building the plane as we fly it, and that's really, you know, how we've developed this, and in terms of, you know, putting the procedures and protocol in place, and certainly following, you know, whatever the national standards have been, because they haven't been clear at times. But we've got incredible people here at the university, and the medical people have guided us along the way. But as you know, Rich, this is about the resolve and the commitment of the student athlete and how bad they wanted to play. That's what's made this work.
Yeah, and I guess, so how do you balance everything, knowing that they also want to be college students too? You know what I mean?
Well, you know, it that's the question that you had to ask them, and that's what I did before they even came to campus and said, look, guys, this is not going to be anything like you're used to. You're going to have to sacrifice way more than you've ever sacrificed before, because the student life that you know it will have to change, you know. Being in large groups, going to parties, it's just not going to work under the current conditions. So if your priority is to continue to work towards getting your degree and playing for a championship, then this is going to work out. If not, you should opt out and not play. And so I think the transparency at the very beginning was very important in this process.
Brian Kelly here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's talk about the road ahead here, and Clemson, this ACC championship game. Let's just say, okay, for all intents and purposes, that let's just say you don't win this game, and I'm just going to throw that out there. Do you still think you deserve to be in the Final Four, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not my decision to make, but our body of work is pretty good. I mean, you know, we would have beaten the number one team in the country. Who knows how North Carolina is going to finish against Miami? 10-1, probably. If we're making an assumption, losing to Clemson, that's number 4 in the country. I think that's a pretty good body of work. It'll put us right there in terms of making a decision. So yeah, I would say that. You know, as long as we're competitive and playing at the level that we've played at all year, yeah, we probably should be one of the 4 teams.
So what if you beat Clemson, and Clemson has 2 losses, and you know obviously how stout they are, you know how good Trevor Lawrence is. Do you think Clemson should get in? You know,
well, then you're gonna have to start comparing, you know, the 2 loss teams against the single loss teams, and so that becomes a whole lot different, you know, when you're talking about 2 losses versus a single loss team. So. Or an undefeated team like, you know, Cincinnati, for example. So I think that gets a little bit more complicated than maybe our situation. That's why it was so important for us to go undefeated, and which we did. And now we don't control our own destiny. We still have to win, but it puts us in a better situation.
What about a team that's played half the games you have? You know, I mean, how would you feel that you do go through this crucible of a season with 11 wins, beating Clemson twice, 2 different quarterbacks for the Clemson Tigers, and a team that has almost half as many games played as you do gets in, and you face them? What about that idea?
Well, it doesn't really matter what I believe. It matters what the committee believes.
No, I mean I would call you an influencer, Coach. At the very
well, I
least.
will tell you what I believe.
Yes.
I believe as a football coach that 10 or 11 games is a lot different than 5 or 6 games because you're dealing with injuries, you're dealing with the psyche of a football team, you're dealing with COVID for another 5 or 6 weeks. The discipline of your football team over that period of time, I think it makes a difference. And if you're just saying, hey, it's all about the eye test and what that team looks like in a vacuum, then then it doesn't matter to them. But as a football coach and somebody that understands all of the nuances of putting a football team on the practice field and having to handle things in the training room and COVID, then I think playing 11 games versus 5 or 6 absolutely matters.
Brian Kelly here on the Rich Eisen Show, and you're a perfect guy to ask this question to because, again, you have played 10 games. You've won 10 games. Coastal Carolina is the only other program that is currently 10-0 as we're sitting here right now. And so you have gone through the most abnormal of seasons with the most, what looks like, just looking at a schedule and seeing it, the most normal looking schedule you can possibly have, right?
Yeah.
But so because it is an abnormal season, though,
Sure.
the concept of maybe adding more teams, changing the playoff system the way that Major League Baseball did, the way that NBA and the NHL bubbled up but did have a different construct and how people could qualify for the playoffs. What about the idea that maybe if it is brought about because of the way everything is going with the virus, adding more teams? Would you have an issue with that as somebody who has played as much as you have?
No, I don't think that ever was really a concern of mine. If they had decided to expand the field because of the uniqueness of the season and some teams not being able to, play as many games, I was okay with that. Mm-hmm. I think what for me was a bit of a stumbling block is what I kind of addressed in your question relative to, 10 or 11 games versus 5 or 6 games. But it seems like the committee has already addressed that, and that's not an issue with them. And that's fine. That's their call. I don't make those decisions. I got to coach a football team. But
right.
I think that, from expansion and if they wanted to do those things, I never really had an issue with that.
Well, I'm just sitting here looking again at a program like Coastal Carolina, a program like Cincinnati, and just seeing how they are trying their hearts out to get the games in, and they haven't lost.
I know.
And then I would love to see them. I would love to see them against your team that should not be penalized because you've lost to Clemson late in this. You know what I mean? Like normally in regular seasons, yeah, you lost late. Sorry, you're out. But this is not a normal season, right? And other teams like Ohio State, clearly they want to play Michigan this week, but they might not be able to. And we shouldn't hold that against that too. That's why I'm saying maybe just expand it. And let's see what it looks like with 8 teams. Like right now, do that.
You and I have been in this business a long time.
Yes.
This is my 31st year being a head coach. You've been in it longer than most. And it makes sense to both of us. But for those guys that make the decision,
right,
it doesn't seem to make sense to them. And I don't know why. You can't even go to the Rose Bowl and watch the game, and we're going to play there. Why not expand it and give these other teams in this unique year an opportunity? So
right.
I think you and I are on the same page. I don't know that everybody else is that makes these decisions.
Brian Kelly here on the Rich Eisen Show. Is this a one-off, Notre Dame in the ACC? I mean, or do you think this season might lead to a relationship from here on out?
Well, there is. That we've got a relationship with him. We're so
right.
thankful that Commissioner Swofford gave us this opportunity, or we would have been in a very difficult situation, right? We would have been trying to put together a schedule in a similar fashion that maybe BYU had to, which was very difficult for them. So, and all of our other sports, as you know, are in the ACC. So we've had this relationship with them, and it certainly will continue. There's no plan to go into the league full time, but clearly if we're in the current situation that we're in next year, we want to be able to continue this relationship and keep the options open.
So you're in your 11th season there, Coach.
My goodness.
Right? I mean, it has been. You've been there longer than many coaches in the history of Notre Dame football.
I have a plaque. They gave me a plaque at 10 years.
Is that what you get for 10 years?
I did. It's actually pretty. It's sitting on my desk. It's a paperweight. Listen, not a lot of people get these paperweights, Rich.
No, I would think that's something you hang on the wall. You know, I mean,
it could.
What do you get for 12 years? Do you get something for 12 years?
I hope I make it to 12.
Oh, stop.
Listen, I try to get through the year. This is a year-to-year gig here at Notre Dame. If you didn't know that.
Oh, come on. You're doing very. Let's put it this way. You're doing very well. You're doing very well. You've got a passionate fan base, including my sound engineer from New Jersey, who claims claims your school. Because I guess he couldn't claim Rutgers, right? You didn't go to Notre Dame, right?
My sister and my nephew went there. Come on.
All right. You know,
I saw Montana play. I'm a Notre Dame fan.
But
BK knows.
Do you realize, though, Coach? Do you know how long Newt Rockne was there? Do you know that?
I think he was 13.
13. Yeah.
13. Yeah.
Yes, and so that's the longest tenured coach. You're closing in. I'm
closing
cool.
in. Hopefully, I can make it a couple more years.
Oh gosh! But I mean, is this do you want to stay? I mean, and
this is
okay.
For me, having seen clearly, the development of this program and over the years to get it to where it is. I want to continue to, bring this program to the consistency, of playing for championships and be part of the discussion every year. When it comes to college football, I want Notre Dame to be part of that, and I want to be that guy that continues to do that.
Okay, well, when you make it to 13th year, Coach, okay?
Yeah. I'll get back on the show?
No, not at all. No, here's what I'll do for you, or at least I'll offer it, because, I know you like breaking trends and setting trends. I will personally come to Notre Dame and give you a bar mitzvah.
Oh,
I'll be in charge of your bar mitzvah, your 13th year, when you become officially a man. For the man for Notre Dame. I'll do it.
I love it, and I will take you up on that.
Because I'm assuming there's no one on campus to do that for you. I'll just come in. Am I wrong?
Yeah, we would probably struggle a little bit.
There's no depth chart there, I don't think, on that front.
We're
so.
a little thin there.
All right, Coach, take care. We'll chat down the line. You got it.
All right, take care. Bye.
Yeah, that's Brian Kelly, everybody. What do you think?
You could do it at the Grotto, Rich. It'd be a perfect spot.
What are you talking about?
The Grotto at Notre Dame, very famous.
I'm sorry,
spot.
when you use that phrase here in Los Angeles, it's like,
wait, what?
Very, very famous place.
Okay, very good.
The Grotto.
Okay.
Brian Kelly, 137 at Notre Dame, 5 wins shy of Newt Rockne.
How about that?
Oh, go BK. I love Brian.
How about that? That's what they thought. That's what they dreamt of when they changed gears from Charlie Weiss. That's how long it's been. Charlie Weiss was his predecessor. 11 years.
Only Lou Holtz has 100 wins. He's 132.
But when you win at Notre Dame like that, that's when people start, sitting there in New York City and saying, maybe when he's coaching against Trevor Lawrence in the ACC championship game, maybe he wants to coach Trevor Lawrence here, not change colors. That's when the rumors start.
You would have to change colors.
So, Rich, are you a Moyle now? Is that?
No, that's a bris, sir.
That's okay. I wasn't sure.
Stick around. I'll teach you the ropes. No.
L'Chaim.
Totally different situation. But I mean, honestly, if it's been a long time since anybody's had 13 seasons at Notre Dame, Newt Rockne is the record holder, and
I mean, if he makes it
to 13, I will go to campus. Where clearly, obviously, the pandemic will be behind us then.
Knock on wood.
And I will perform, even though I have no rights to do this. I am Jewish.
You can get certified online, Rich.
I can get coached up quickly enough to deliver whatever needs to be done.
Can I light a candle on the cake?
You can come and do that. Yes,
I can do that. Thank you, Rich.
Well, it's up to Brian. I mean, it's his bar mitzvah.
True.
I'm just
I did
officiating.
that a couple times.
You've lit candles at bar mitzvahs, huh?
Rich.
Okay, great.
He's done it all.
So you've done it all. You've done it all.
Baruch atah Adonai.
And he's also wrapped a police car around a tree.
Yeah, true. It's true.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.